afternoon, everyone. This is RAND. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Thursday, August 14, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a reverse aging health call and all the rest tomorrow night, Friday, after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. You want to make sure you're in a comfortable position, no outside distractions, relaxed into your body, still as a statue, focused on your breath rising and falling. Man's chief delusion is his conviction that there are causes other than his own state of consciousness. All that befalls a man, all that is done by him, all that comes from him, happens as a result of his state of consciousness. Man's consciousness is all that he thinks and desires and loves, all that he believes is true and consents to. That is why a change of consciousness is necessary before you can change your outer world. Neville got it. It's like we are two beings in one. We have the body, right? With brain, blood, bones, muscles. And we have the God, the spirit, the soul, the pure consciousness. Now, they're both part of all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. When the body ceases, eventually the energy leaves the body, and the body is inert, pretty much. It goes back into the earth. And it's all about what you're thinking about, period. It isn't about anything outside of you, even though we have been taught that that's the case. It is only you. It's what you think, is what you generate, is what you live. That's it. There isn't any intervention there. There isn't any influence outside of you. And this is the civilization, humanity. And the reason that there's so much confusion is that the majority don't know that. They're ignorant to it. They believe that there's something out there that's, doing separate from them. And there's nothing separate from any of us. There never will be. When you think, and thoughts are just thoughts, okay, until you give them gravity, until you give them energy, okay, until you embrace them and you actually make them part of your experience. So you can have all kinds of thoughts, and you can dismiss them. You don't care to engage them and interact with them. Now imagine you are a massive generating pure energy machine. So all of this is energy, everything, all of it, taking on different form. It appears to be solid, and nothing is solid. Okay? You hammer on a cement table or counter, and you go, that's really solid. When you go into it, you see the molecular structure, you can shift the molecules. Nothing is really solid. It's fluid. But our eyes can't detect that. We can't pick it up. So when you're aware that you are part of everything, period. There isn't anything you're not part of. You're the God. All of us are gods in these bodies, so to speak. And we create everything. You create everything in your life. Oh, what about the surprises? No, that's created by you, that you don't know it, because you don't remember, and you don't really focus on every thought that you put out there. So you can see how people get distracted because they have 60,000 thoughts playing over and over again every day in their heads. Not only that, but they have their own thoughts that they're sending out. So it becomes very confusing for most of the people on this planet whether they're coming or going. This is why I talk about slowing down. Half speed. You want to rush, but don't. You want to hurry, but don't. Be mindful of that and slow down. You notice that you become, things start operating and happening, and then you become, it's like almost you go into hurry mode. It might be subtle at first. And so you go into hurry mode, and you don't notice it, and you're just doing it. Instead of just slowing down, like you're taking a shower, you're in a hurry to take a shower, go, slow down, go half speed. It really assists us in calmness and peace and tranquility. But we've been taught, because of the human psyche, which is a society, that, a lot of hurrying, a lot of rushing, a lot of doing, going to be late for this, going to be late for that, got to get going, good this. And this is why you see the rat race, just shuffling along really fast, moving along. And it's the opposite. You slow instead of hurry. Everything's the opposite. Okay? When you're in ego mind, physicality mode, you worry, stress, and fear at different levels. Sometimes you don't even know it. So you're the processing of everything and the influencing of your processing and all the data, all the information that you process. And people say, well, they can't just whip together the life they want. Yeah, they can. They sure can. It doesn't matter what's going on out there. You see, it really doesn't, because you're the one that affects what's going on out there. See, you're the one that literally can change, like I've said, the field around you by what you think about. See, by what you concentrate on. You want a great life? You focus on a great life. And in the great life, you have certain things in your perspective that you want in that life. Other people have different perspectives as well. So you have Jim over here and Jane over there. Jane has a totally different perspective on the life that she wants to live, and Jim has a different perspective on what he wants to live, so on and so forth. But we're not in the habit of it. See, we get into the habit of that and moving into the now, like we do in these meditations. And we move into the now and we just be. We leave the mind and ego alone. We step away and we watch. We don't judge. We move ourselves out of judgment and into within us, into peace, tranquility, bliss, joy, happiness, all that, which is within us. You can decide to be happy anytime you want. It doesn't have to have a catalyst outside of you that's going to, make you happy, because our natural state of being is happy and joyous. So, we maneuver in this life But we have redundancy. We repeat. Every lifetime is similar, not exactly, but it is similar. And, each time we experience, but again, eventually we're going to know our past lives. We're going to know them all. There won't be any more amnesia. And that'll be interesting, see, because it'll depend on what people, okay, they look at different lifetimes and stuff, and maybe they won't, maybe they'll decide that they want to do something else instead of incarnate into a human body. Because we're all free. We're not imprisoned, so to speak. Once we discover that we are free naturally, as gods, our natural sense of being is freedom. It's free, real, truly free. Go anywhere, do anything. And see, we make up, people call the God, right? God. All of us make up God. So there isn't really a separate being known as God. We are God. And we make up the one God. And we're all collective consciousness. And the collective consciousness, all together, with all species, with all the gods, make the one God. See, we were taught that God is separate from us. God is outside of us. And it's totally the opposite is true. Completely the opposite is true. God is within us, kingdom of God. Heaven. Heaven is inside of us. Heaven, so to speak, heaven is not a place. It's you, the God. Now, people say, well, we've had heaven, and, people cross over and they go to heaven. That is a engineered, modulated, holographic imaging scenario. That's what that is. Based upon how the civilization has been taught. And they believe it, and it's created through the holographic imaging. So people say, even it can be as real as the nose on your face to you. But even though that is, it isn't. People that have. The one young boy, they had a movie, and he ended up in the church pew, and there was a big window, and the angels were singing, and Jesus came up, put his hand on his shoulder, and started talking with him. That is all holographically generated. Period. Certain images, picture faces, surroundings. It's all holographically generated. Now, we've been doing it for, ever. So why wouldn't you believe that, hey, that's the real deal? And everybody has, for the most part. So everybody has, and the process is the actual reality, the truth, is the opposite. It's all within you. All of it. That's why you say heaven on earth. Well, you're in an earth body, okay? Because this is where we come into this planet, we come into these bodies. So you're an earth body, but you're heaven in the body. Okay? You're heaven in the body. Period. Not a place, but you. And this is part of the transition of awareness for people on this planet, is that you begin to embrace the fact that you are the heaven, that you are the God, that you are the kingdom of God. All of us are. Now that's a far cry, right? It's a far cry from what we have been really disciplined with for a very long time. You see what I mean? We've been disciplined in the opposite direction. Separation. The illusion of separation. And that's another thing. None of us are separate. We think we are. The things that trick us to believe that we are. If we knew we weren't separate, do you think we would have such separation amongst peoples on the planet? That we would have such issues of peoples on the planet? No, because we would be all part of each other. Period. And when that happens, you imagine, because it's gonna come to fruition. Okay? You're going to realize that everything around, and I don't mean superficially, I mean deeply within you, that everything around you is part of you. And you want to visualize it, visualize the field of energy. Everything is energy. There isn't anything that isn't. Everything is energy. It just takes on different form. Can you destroy energy? No. It just takes on different form. If you've got two nuclear missiles that hit each other and have an implosion, right, creates an energy field. It's all about energy, and energy is then reabsorbed. It takes on different form. A tree burns. We have these fires on the planet right now. If you have a tree burns, well, then the tree is burned up, and that energy is repositioned. The heat, the fire, the wood is repositioned. What about water? The magic of water, right? Now you can sit there and watch water evaporate, okay? And so where is it? Where did it go? It's still there. It's still there. This is why, like I've said, on this planet, we're drinking water that's millions of years old. Because it never leaves the planet. It's always here, whether it's in the upper atmosphere. There's water in the desert atmosphere. There's water everywhere. See? And people don't perceive that. They think that, well, that energy's gone. It isn't. You can go right back to the space, right? Like, say, above a forest, where the smoke and the burning, you can feel the heat from the wood. And you could take a cubic centimeter squared, right? Cubic centimeter of just space. Now think about this, and I say it over and over and over again. It has enough energy in that small space, cubic centimeter, cubic meter, to boil all the oceans on this planet. Now, really, can the mind comprehend that? Probably really not. But that's a lot of power. Okay? Now, multiply that by billions and trillions, quintillions, sextillions. I mean, think about it. So then you start to realize is that everything is energy. It's just in a different form it takes on. Rock, energy. Water, soil, trees. Everything's energy. Of course, it's different in different ways, different molecular structures. Okay, you can have materials that are that inanimate or whatever you want to call it, but they have molecular structure, and they have atoms. And atoms don't last long. Atoms will go like that. Their staying power isn't long. But everything has a consciousness. Everything. Those small particles that you can't see have consciousness. Well, how do we know that? Because they've been tested. In quantum physics, you have one particle over here, right? And you have another particle over here. And they both move in different ways. They both have a consciousness. Not like our consciousness. But everything has a consciousness. If you look at a wall, right, and you go, that wall's solid, can't walk through it. No, you can't, not the way it's molecularly structured. But when you change the molecular structure of that wall, you can literally walk right through it. Effortlessly, as if there was nothing there. But to the naked eye, there's a wall there. And molecules are energy. Atoms are energy. Subatomic particles are energy. Quantum quark energy. All of it is energy. What about my body? The body's energy. It's a different form, okay? And the body has to be fed energy to keep it going. Now, once we discover that that the God within the body can give the body energy. Okay? You've heard of people that live off of the atmosphere, breathing, breathers. They don't eat. Okay? See, and they've been able to learn how to assimilate the prana in the air. Quantum actually means, really, it says small and tiny. Chi. It used to be called, before quantum, it used to be called chi. Right? Prana. The energy, your life force, the chi. And then they started getting fancy and added different words to it. And we all have life force. All of us. Obviously. Soul leaves the body. God, so to speak, is in the soul. Is the soul destroyed? No, soul's pure energy. Experiencing a different form. Period. It's becoming aware of this and focusing on it to comprehend the fact of what you really are. Well, we call you a God within the body, right? You're part of a collective consciousness. Eventually you will be able to plug into all of it, knowingly. Okay, I mean, we're already plugged into it, but you'll be able to access, which you can't do right now. You'll be able to access everything in that collective consciousness, all the knowledge, all the information. Makes sense, right? Because we're all one, collective, we all have access. And as I've said, that eventually the civilization evolves enough where it can keep itself young as long as it chooses. Okay? Because it is tuned in to the physical, organic body, so it knows. Knows all the functions of the body and how to keep it youthful. Right now, we're a far cry from that. But looking at everything on this planet and the attempt constantly to convince you that you're separate, that you're alone, that you're all by yourself, and the opposite is true. And a lot of the things that we can ascertain is from the fact that a lot of the things you, and when you discover that if you go the opposite, the feeling that you receive is a good one because you now are in a natural state rather than an out of state. Say, you're in an unnatural state. Most of the people on this planet are in an unnatural state. This is why there is so much turmoil, conflict, confusion, all of it. Because we're in an unnatural state of being. But we've been taught that. So that's what we practice, an unnatural state of being. Now, do we know that? Heck no, we don't know that. Do we know it lifetime after lifetime? No. But this is why it seems at times for many of us difficult, to traverse the life, right? And knowing, if you know, when you begin to know from going within that you're the master and commander of all of it, period. Nobody else is. As we've been told that there's a lot of things that are. I mean, you can design your life any way you choose. And everybody designs their lives. It's just they're not aware that they're designing their lives. And you could change directions and shift gears anytime you care to. And when you kind of get you kind of wake up, you start waking up. Right? Religion has nothing to do with it on this planet. The teachings on this planet have nothing to do with it. They're all skewed. You have everything to do with it. You are the creator. Okay. I'll join you in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. And slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, focused on your breath rising and falling and relaxed into your body. Make this your daily mantra. Be loving and fearless. You have nothing to be afraid of. That which is real cannot be damaged, hurt, or ever destroyed. That which is not real doesn't even exist. Who you are is this brilliant, pure light of consciousness found within everything. You have no reason not to be courageous. And yes, you can let your little light shine even brighter. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and falling morning. We'll return here Friday, August 15, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call, and after 9:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our reverse aging health call. Be gentle, kind, generous, humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, and purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times. Open your heart. Allow the magic to flow in.